last week, just kind of talk about a little bit what we've already went over, some of what you guys saw, and some of what y'all missed. But, okay, some review here. What, in Ezra and Nehemiah, okay, what ended up happening in Ezra and Nehemiah?
They tried to make a covenant.
Yeah, they tried to reset things, tried to redo things, and did it work? No, it failed. What was the problem? What was messed up with them that needs fixed? Yeah, their hearts were messed up. So Ezra and Nehemiah leaves it to where their hearts are messed up. That's why it's not working. That's the problem here. Okay, that's why the return to some degree failed, if you put it that way. And so it leaves us looking for the Messiah, the guy who's going to come, who's going to fix this. After that, we went to Chronicles, and we walked through Chronicles, and what character is, well, first off, what tribe is the whole focus of the book of Chronicles?
Judah.
Judah, right? And why is Judah important?
That's the tribe Jesus is going to come.
Yeah, it's in Genesis 49, the scepter will not depart from where? Judah. So the chronicler focuses in on the tribe of Judah. It focuses in on that and tracks the lineage. Doesn't even mention the other kingdom of Israel or whatever. It just focuses on that. You know, and you go through and you see Solomon rise up, David rise up, all these guys, and all crashes and burns, and finally Israel gets exiled, and it leaves it in exile. And the very end of the book ends with, let him who's going to go to Jerusalem, or let him who's going to go up to rebuild, go up. And so it sets it up to where you're waiting for this guy who's going to put this stuff in motion. All right, and that guy ends up being Christ. As soon as we finished interacting with that, we went ahead and went to Mark, which we're gonna look at Mark and Luke briefly, real quick, before we get into new material. But go ahead and turn to Mark chapter 1, just for some re-emphasis here. Mark chapter 1, the beginning of the gospel of Jesus Christ, the Son of God, as it is written in Isaiah the prophet, behold, I'm sending my messenger ahead of you, who will prepare your way. That's Malachi 3:1. The voice of the one crying in the wilderness, make ready the way of the Lord, make his path straight. Okay, so right here there's this messenger coming, and let's just flip back over to Malachi 3:1 just real quick. We're going to re-emphasize this stuff just a little bit before we move on to the main topic of today. Malachi 3:1. Behold, I'm going to send my messenger. He will clear the way before me. That's the quote from Mark chapter 1, right? Mm-hmm. And the Lord whom you seek will suddenly come to his temple, and the messenger of the covenant, in whom you delight. Behold, he's coming. Who can endure the day of his coming? Who can stand when he appears? For he is like a refiner's fire and like a fuller's soap. He will sit and smelter and purifier of silver, and he will purify the sons of Levi and refine them as like gold and silver, so that they may present offerings in righteousness. So when this guy comes, he's gonna do what? He's gonna purify his people to where they're giving offerings in righteousness. So this messenger is going to come before him, before he comes, right? And then you look at Malachi chapter 4, verses 5 and 6. Behold, I'm going to send you Elijah, the prophet, before the great and terrible day of the Lord. He will restore the hearts of the fathers to their children, and the hearts of the children to their fathers, so that I will not come and smite the land with a curse. So this Elijah's coming, and who did we show from Mark? Who's Elijah? Who is Elijah? John the Baptist. Mark chapter 1, turn back over there. John the Baptist appeared in the wilderness. Remember Isaiah says a voice crying out in the wilderness, right? Referring to Isaiah. Well, John the Baptist appears in the wilderness. And so what we're looking for is for all the hearts of the people to be turned back to the hearts of their fathers, right? So that here we have, in all the country of Judea, let's start verse 4. John the Baptist appeared in the wilderness preaching a baptism of repentance for the forgiveness of sins. And all the country of Judea was going out to him, and all the people of Jerusalem, and they were being baptized him in the Jordan River, confessing their sins. So what's happening here? What's happening with the people of Israel?
Their hearts are being turned.
Yeah, their hearts are being turned back. They're coming out, they're confessing their sins. So you have John the Baptist ushering this, and of course, why is this important in Deuteronomy? Well, God says at the point that, y'all return to me with your full heart, I will have compassion on you. So all this stuff it's coming to fruition right here with John the Baptist, with Christ coming after him. That's where this stuff's being set in motion. To look at the cheat sheet that Moy showed me. Turn to Luke chapter 1. You guys remember that inside joke a while back. This is where it came from. But I didn't think it was that funny though. Alright, so Luke chapter 1 verse 16 through, let's just go 17. And he, the one who's going to be born, John the Baptist, he will turn many of the sons of Israel back to the Lord their God. It is he who will go as a forerunner before him in the spirit and the power of Elijah, to turn back the hearts of the fathers back to the children, and the disobedient to the attitude of righteousness, so as to make ready the people prepared for the Lord. Right? Did you guys see that? Okay, this is Luke. I mean, Mark is more theological. You can find the linkage in Mark, how Mark, it says John the Baptist was clothed in camel's hair, and which 2 Kings chapter 1 verse 8 shows Elijah as a hairy man with the same attire that John the Baptist is wearing here, so they're intertextually linking. Mark's more theological when he links John the Baptist to being the new Elijah. Luke just straight up says it. He's the one who came to turn people's hearts back to the Lord. So all that comes in motion through John. It's all set in motion. After that, Christ comes. And Christ is the one he's putting everything together. He's, as we went through last week, talked about he's the one who is going to quote unquote, rebuild the temple. He's the one who's going to unite the office of king and priest. He's the one who's going to forgive their transgressions. He's the one Christ sets everything in motion. It all sums up, leads to him putting everything together. So we hit this last week. Okay. Does anyone have any questions on those topics before we move on? Does that make sense to some degree? Mm-hmm. Okay. It seems clear enough to me. I mean, just so far that seems pretty straightforward. So I don't really have much to say other than it makes sense. With that being said, let's turn back to Deuteronomy, and we're going to start. I'm going to try to show you guys the major movement in the text here before we handle the issue of today. Okay, one thing that's always been bothering us that we're trying to work through currently, people are always fighting over, is the topic of election. And so we're going to start dealing with that today, and we're going to try to be as textual as we can to show what that's talking about. Okay? If you guys will remember, so far, does it seem clear that the author, in the scriptures, the author always, he sets up the terms, motifs, the ideas, all those things are began in the Torah. With whether it's, Israel being holy, or God's possession, or the mystery, or God having compassion, all these terms, all these things are defined and set in the Torah. And you watch the movement of these, and it sprouts throughout the Old Testament, and then you get to the New Testament where it lands and everything's put together. I'm also arguing election is the same way. The idea of this being chosen is in the Torah, and we have to track it, just like we do the mystery, just like we do everything else. You have to track it to understand what it's talking about. And I'm going to argue that's where the current thinking that's popular on election, I'm going to argue is not correct, because they're not following the major movement. They're not catching what's going on in the text, which we've seen that with the word mystery. We've seen that with other stuff that we've interacted with. And I'm arguing you're going to find the same thing with election. There's a movement here that we have to follow to see what it's talking about. And so we're going to try to hit that today. With that being said, this is a very difficult lesson to teach in regards to there's so much to cover. That's where it'd probably be. I feel like it might be this week and next week before we get it all together, but we'll do what we can. That's why I wanted to start early. But let's go with turn to Exodus 19:5. We're going to start here. Okay, Exodus 19, 4 and 5. 4, 5, and 6. Really. Let's get someone to read Exodus 19, 4, 5, and 6.
You yourselves have seen what I did to the Egyptians and how I bore you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. Now then, If you will indeed obey my voice and keep my covenant, then you shall be my own possession among all the peoples. For all the earth is mine, and you shall be to me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words that you shall speak to the sons of Israel.
All right, so let's talk about what is, let's see. If you will indeed keep my covenant. So we have the conditional. You guys remember all this. Whenever you have this conditional covenant being set here. The if, then covenant. All right. And so he says they're going to be his special possession, right? This marker's not work out what I want it to. They never do. Special possession. All right. What else does it say about Israel?
Kingdom of priests.
Kingdom of priests. Holy nation. Yeah, right. So God says, you guys, y'all are going to be my kingdom priest, holy nation, my possession. I bore you up on eagle's wings. He's talking, and let me reemphasize also, who is he talking to?
Israel.
Israel. Okay, I'm going to make sure I can make this clear as I can. Who is he not talking to?
Everybody else.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to emphasize this again, who is not in the covenant?
The Gentiles, those who are not of
Yeah,
Israel.
everybody else is not in the covenant. Okay, is that a problem?
Yes.
Okay, this is a problem, right? All right, with that in mind, let's keep moving forward. Okay, turn to Deuteronomy chapter 4, verses 37 through 40. David, can you read that for us? Deuteronomy chapter 4, verses 37 through 40.
My Bible's real thin. To the page or content.
So each book is like a page long.
Yeah. And because he loved your fathers, therefore he chose your descendants after them. And he brought you out of Egypt with his presence, with his mighty power, driving out from before you nations greater and mightier than you are, to bring you in, to give you their land as an inheritance as it is this day.
All right, so because they're fathers, who does the text say is chosen?
Their seed.
Yeah, and who's it talking to right here?
Israel.
Yeah, he's talking to Israel. He's saying, you guys,
That's a safe answer.
y'all are chosen, right? He's saying, you guys are chosen. There's seed after him. You've been chosen. Okay, so that's one text. Look at Deuteronomy 7, verses 6 through 8. Someone read that for me.
For you are a holy people to the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you to be a people for his own possession out of all the peoples who are on the face of the earth.
Sorry, keep going.
The Lord did not set his love on you, nor choose you because you were more in number than any of the peoples, for you were the fewest of all the people.
All right, what terms did we just have linked here, but to Exodus 19:5?
Special treasure.
Yeah, and what else?
Holy people.
So now you've got some linkage here, right? Remember, he's chosen them, king of priests, holy nation, special possession. They've been chosen for what? Holy people, special possession. You guys see how this linkage has happened here? Okay. With that being said, look at Deuteronomy 10, verses 14 and 15. Let's see. Chuck, can I get you to read that for us, verse 14 and 15?
Behold, to the Lord your God belong heaven and earth, and the highest heaven, the earth, and all that is in it. Yet on your fathers did the Lord set his affection to love them, and he chose their descendants after them, even you above all people, as it is this day.
I'm like starting to put marks here. So how many times have we heard this now?
3.
3 times so far. All right, let's go for 4. Look at Deuteronomy 13. Let's go verses 17 through chapter 4, verse 2. Let's see. Okay, yeah, we'll go ahead. Yeah, read chapter 13, verses 17 through chapter 14, verse 2. Curtis, can I get you to read that?
Nothing from that which is put under the ban shall cling to your hand, in order that the Lord may turn from his burning anger and show mercy to you, and have compassion on you and make you increase, just as he has sworn to your fathers. If you will listen to the voice of the Lord your God, keeping all his commandments which I am commanding you today, and doing what is right in the sight of the Lord your God. You are the sons of the Lord your God. You shall not cut yourselves, nor shave your forehead for the sake of the dead. For you are a holy people to the Lord your God, and the Lord has chosen you to be a people for his own possession out of all the peoples who are on the face of the earth.
All right, let's talk about it. What else just got linked up here? What did he say? What did he add in here? The conditionality. If you obey me. We just had that linked. What else? He also said he's going to have what on them?
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have compassion on them. You see how all these terms are being linked here? Again, he says y'all are chosen. The add the if-thens being linked, the compassion's being linked, holy people, special possession. All this stuff is being linked. No, crap, that's terrible. Sorry, no one like that. 4, there we go. All right, anyways. All these things are being linked together. You see that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I just want to make sure we catch. So Israel's chosen to be a special possession, holy people. If then, there's going to be the compassion. They're given this covenant. They're going to be a special possession, kingdom of priests, holy nation. All this stuff is being wrapped up with the nation of Israel. Who's it not being given to? Yeah, yeah. Like so there's this dividing wall here, right, between Israel and everybody else. I'm using these terms intentionally. Anyone who's familiar with the New Testament will start catching what's happening. So there's this dividing wall here between Israel and the nations. Israel is chosen for all this stuff, right? And you guys remember earlier on how we went through all this. Turn to Deuteronomy 29. 29, and we'll, let's see. We'll just go ahead and take the long and fun route. Look at 29 verses 22 through 29. Someone read that first. 29, 22 through 29. Curtis, why don't you read that for us?
Now the generation to come, your sons who rise up after you, and the foreigner who comes from a distant land, when they see the plagues of the land and the diseases with which the Lord has afflicted it, will say, all its land is brimstone and salt, a burning waste, unsown and unproductive, and no grass grows in it, like the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah and Zeboim, which the Lord overthrew in his anger and in his wrath. All nations will say, why has the Lord done this to the land? Why this great outburst of anger? Then men will say, because they forsook the covenant of the Lord, the God of their fathers, which he made with them when he brought them out of the land of Egypt. How long?
Just, let's go to verse 28, 29. Just read the whole chapter.
They went and served other gods and worshipped them, gods whom they had not known and whom he had not allotted to them. Therefore the anger of the Lord burned against that land to bring upon it every curse which is written in this book. And the Lord uprooted them from their land in anger and in fury and in great wrath, and cast them into another land, as it is this day. The secret things belong to the Lord our God, but the things revealed belong to us and to our sons forever, that we may observe all of the words of this law.
Yeah, okay, and you guys remember we went over this a few weeks ago. So what is the burning question here? God's given Israel this covenant. Is the covenant going to work out?
No.
So what's the question being asked here? Why did God give them a covenant that's going to crash and burn? That's what the mystery. The mystery belongs to the Lord our God. Okay, God has something, Curtis. Something. Go ahead. No, you want to.
I'll do it.
He's got something up his sleeve, right? He's planning something. He's predetermining something. He's predestined something. God knows what he's doing. This isn't just random occurrence. Like he knows what he's planning here. Okay? And so there's a mystery that's left unsolved right here in Deuteronomy. Okay, and Moses even says, the mystery belongs to the Lord, but the things revealed belong to us that we may do them. He says, look, we just have to do it. We don't know what God has up his sleeve, but we just need to be obedient. And so that's where the dice lays here. The mystery has not been solved at this point in the Torah. Okay, and with that being said, I'm going to keep that in your head. Let's go ahead and turn back to Deuteronomy chapter 4, and then we're going to go back to Deuteronomy 30. I want to re-emphasize this stuff very strongly, emphatically, powerfully. Curtis. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verses 25 through 31. Moy, can you read that for us?
Yeah. 25 to 31.
25 to 31, yep.
When you become the fathers of children and children's children, and have remained long in the land, and act corruptly, and make an idol in the form of anything, and do that which is evil in the sight of the Lord your God, so as to provoke him to anger, I call heaven and earth to witness against you today, that you will surely perish quickly from the land where you are going over the Jordan to possess it. You shall not live long in it, but will be utterly destroyed. The Lord will scatter you among the peoples, and you will be left in few in number among the nations where the Lord drives you. There you will serve gods and work for men's hands, wood and stone, which neither see nor hear, nor eat nor smell. But from there you will seek the Lord your God, and you will find him if you search for him with all your heart and all your soul. When you are in distress, and all these things have come upon you in the latter days, you will return to the Lord your God and listen to his voice. For the Lord your God is a compassionate God. He will not fail you, nor destroy you, nor forget the covenant with your fathers, which he swore to them.
All right. So when they've remained long in the land, what's going to happen?
They will turn away.
Yeah, they're going to turn evil. They're going to break the covenant. All right, so they're in Canaan. They're going to remain there. Who is in Canaan?
Israel.
Israel. I really am pulling for Sunday school answers here. I'm trying to. Israel is in the land. Then they're going to break the covenant. Now, what's going to happen after that?
Scattered.
They're going to be scattered. Okay. So when okay, this is kind of a interesting question. When do they break the covenant?
Yes.
Okay, exactly. Exodus 32, right? Golden calf. They went ahead and shattered it there. Okay. Joshua. They're messing Joshua. Judges. The whole book of Judges is about them slandering the covenant. For 2 Samuel, Kings. The whole time they're slandering it. Just unparalleled slandering of the covenant. Okay. In 2 Kings, what happens to them?
They're scattered.
All right. The prophets record this. The prophets record. Jeremiah. We went through in detail how, look, they're scattered. God's going to bring this down on your heads. You're going to get kicked out of the land. It happens. The prophets, right? We're talking the prophets, kings, right? So this is where the scattering happens, breaking of the covenant. Yeah, it really Torah.
The whole thing.
I just put it everywhere when we just make this much less complicated. Okay, now with that being said, what's the next step to this process?
Turning
The turning. They're going to turn to the Lord with what?
their hearts.
Heart, soul.
Hearts.
All right. So does this happen in Ezra and Nehemiah? Do they turn to the Lord with their whole heart? No. When does this happen?
John shows up on the scene.
Yeah, right. John the Baptist. Well, I'm gonna put Elijah shows up, who's prophesied about, right? Elijah/John, he shows up, right? So this is in. I guess I would put the Gospels. The New Covenant. This is when this happens. The Gospels. They return to the Lord with their whole heart. Okay. When this happens, what's the word he says? God will, when they turn with him to their whole heart, what's God going to do? He's going to have what on them?
Compassion.
Compassion. Oh gosh, I need to like all caps this. Sorry, it's just. You're going to have compassion on them. And what is he going to do to them? I guess we need to, let's go to Deuteronomy 30. I don't think it says it here, does it? Oh yeah, of course, also, when does it say in verse 30? When's all this going to happen?
Latter days.
Alright, there's just too much. Okay. And days. Why is this important? I can't even, I'm like,
That's when the Messiah is gonna show up.
Poetic seems, right? Genesis 49. Numbers 24. Deuteronomy 31, 32. I mean, let's just keep going, right? Hosea, what was it? 3, 4, 5. I mean, just, it's all over the place. This guy's going to come in latter days. So in the latter days, he's going to have compassion on them. He's going to, when their hearts turn, all this stuff is going to come together in the latter days through, obviously, Messiah. I mean, major figure here. Prophets lay that out very, very, very beautifully. Okay? Turn to Deuteronomy 30. Let's see. Get someone to read Deuteronomy 30, 1 through 6. Let's go with Michael. Can you read that for us? Deuteronomy 30.
So it shall be, when all of these things have come upon you, the blessing and the curse which I have set before you, and you call them to mind in all nations where the Lord your God has banished you, and you return to the Lord your God and obey him with all your heart and soul.
Stop right there. When did that happen? Return to the Lord your God with your heart. Right. John the Baptist. Keep going.
According to all that I commanded you today, you and your sons, then the Lord your God will restore you from captivity and have compassion on you.
All right, so what's he going to do to him?
Restore them from captivity.
Restore. Okay.
Restore their force.
Restore their fortunes is what that actually says in Hebrew. I'm going to put that down for. Sorry guys, I know my brain, I'm Twitter pated here. Just work with me.
No, you're all right, dude.
Restore. I gotta have different colors. Shut up. Alright, fortunes. Restore fortunes, right? Compassion on them. Alright, keep going, Michael.
Hang on. Note.
Yeah, no, that's great. Take your time.
Alright. Restore you from captivity and have compassion on you, and will gather you again from all the peoples where the Lord your God has scattered you. If your outcasts are at the ends of the earth, from there the Lord your God will gather you, and from there he will bring you back. The Lord your God will bring you into the land which your fathers possessed, and you shall possess it. He will prosper you and multiply you more than your fathers.
All right, and what's he going to do to their hearts?
That's in verse 6.
Yeah. Oh, did he read verse 6?
No.
Read verse 6.
Moreover, the Lord your God will circumcise your heart and the heart of your descendants to love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul, so that you may live.
God's going to fix your hearts, right? That's okay. So when does that happen? Michael, we went over like all this in detail. So just let you know. That's why you're on the back end here.
Okay.
When does this happen? How does this happen? How are their hearts fixed?
Elijah comes and
Yeah, he comes. What comes after Christ?
The Holy Spirit.
The Holy Spirit. Ezekiel 36, 24 through 26. I'm going to bring you back, have compassion on you. I'm going to put a new heart within you. I'm going to put my spirit within you and cause you to walk in my statutes. In Jeremiah 31, I'm going to write my law in your heart. Like all these, Joel, I'm going to pour my spirit out on you. What's Jesus saying? John, Jesus says, look, I've got to go so that he can come after me and he'll guide you in all truth, right? And what happens in Acts?
The Spirit comes.
boom, the Spirit comes down, right? So this is talking about the Spirit, which comes down on us and is at work in our hearts right now. The guy who we need to, Paul says, don't, walk in the Spirit, don't grieve the Spirit. It's huge. The Spirit's the one who's doing this. This happens here, okay? All that to say, all of this currently, according to the evidence I have showed you, is concerning what group of people?
Israel.
Israel. Who is it not concerning?
Everybody else.
Everybody else, right? So we have a problem here. So who has not obtained compassion?
Gentiles.
Gentiles, right? They have not who is not chosen? Gentiles. They have not contained compassion. They're not in the covenant. Is this a problem?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Again, the mystery. What is God doing? Why is God giving them this covenant that's not going to work? What is He thinking? What's He planning? Okay. With that being said, turn to Deuteronomy 32. Let's see. I tell you what, let's just have some fun here. I wasn't planning on this, but we'll do it anyway. We've got time, so we'll make something happen. Deuteronomy 32, okay? Let's go with, someone read, and I'm going to be like ruthlessly mauling you while you're trying to read, so just go ahead and throw that out there. Whoever's brave, start reading chapter 31, verse 28 forward. All the way, just keep going until I say stop. 31, verse 28 forward.
Assemble to me all the elders of your tribes and your officers, that I may speak these words in their hearing. Call the heavens and the earth to witness against
All right,
them.
stop right there. Assemble. What is that?
Bring everybody together.
Yeah, and I'm pulling for a grammatical term.
Imperative.
Imperative. Let me tell you. What is that?
Well,
Cohortative.
yes.
All right, keep going, Michael.
For I know that after my death you will act corruptly and turn from the way which I have commanded you, and the evil will befall you in the latter days.
What's that in the where?
What it is.
What am I reading right now? What did I call this? What's Salhammer's term? What's this section called?
Scene?
One of the
Yeah,
scenes.
poetic seams, right? Remember, I just poetic seam. Granted, I'm reading the poetic seam here. I just want to reemphasize that. So, with that in mind, imperative, cohortative, I heard it. So now we're reading the poetic seam. Keep going, Michael.
And the evil will befall you in the latter days, for you will do that which is evil in the sight of the Lord, provoking him to anger with the work of your hands. Then Moses spoke in the hearing of all the assembly of Israel the words of this song until they were complete. Give ear, O heavens, and let me speak, and let the earth hear the words of my mouth. Let my teaching drop as the rain, my speech distill as the dew, as the droplets on fresh grass, and as the showers on the herb. For I proclaim the name of the Lord. Ascribe greatness to our God, the rock. His work is perfect.
What's he called there?
The rock.
Why is that important?
So we didn't build a church on?
Hey, that's good to know. No, that's you're aiming in the right direction.
He's a wrestler.
What follows them around in Exodus and Numbers?
That rock that gives them water.
The rock that gives them water. So Corinthians chapter 10. You guys need to look that up sometime about the rock that followed them. Anyway,
Chapter 4, living water.
Well, all right, keep going.
His work is perfect, for all his ways are just. A God of faithfulness and without injustice, righteous and upright is he. They have acted corruptly towards him. They are not his children, because they
Who's they?
Israel.
Israel. All right, keep going.
because of their defect, but are a perverse and crooked generation. Do you best repay the Lord, O foolish and unwise people? Is not he your father who has brought you? He has made you and established you. Remember the days of old, consider the years of all generations. Ask your father, and he will inform you, your elders, and they will tell you. And the Most High gave the nations their inheritance. When he separated the sons of man, he set the boundaries of the peoples according to the number of the sons of Israel. For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the allotment of his inheritance.
Yeah, so like Israel's getting the good side, right? This is great. All right, keep going.
He found him in a desert land, and in the howling waste of a wilderness. He encircled him. He cared for him. He guarded him as a pupil of his eye. Like an eagle that stirs up its nest, that hovers over its young, he spread his wings and caught them. He carried them on his pinions.
What's this talking about, like symbolically here?
Symbolic?
Not symbolic, just
Egypt, like-
yeah. He's
Yeah,
talking
the
about
exile,
Israel,
yeah.
right? God finding them, hovering over them, taking them in. You see, what term would you use? That's I'm thinking it's representing Israel is the idea.
Mhm.
It's poetic language representing Israel. So that's what he's talking about here.
Metaphor.
Yeah, metaphor. There we go.
Can we pause